Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm actually in the process of transplanting some slips into some compost to try and get myself a harvest or a crop of sweet potatoes. Now, if you cast your mind back through my other videos, everything I did was an experiment. So what I am doing here and going forward is still experimental, but so far everything has worked out, and indeed I've got 100% success on the potatoes I started out with to try and get slips, and I'll quickly show you. And when you last saw my sweet potatoes, they were pretty much looking like this, but they have actually thrown slips out, and I've begun to harvest the slips, and now I'm transplanting them into grow bags, as you can see here. I've got reinforcement on the side of these trellises to keep the bags upright and give the depth, which is this here, of the bags, to allow them good depth to produce what I'm hoping will be quite a lot of tubers. Now, I have transplanted quite close together because it's like I said, it's all an experiment. Now, I don't know if any of these will fail, but I'm in the process of filling this one up and taking the rest of the slips off. Then I'll water it, then I'll see where I go from here. But just to recap, these are only your store-bought sweet potatoes. And what I did is I put some like growing compost into actual trays, buried them halfway, only halfway, and left half the sweet potato showing, and then I used very liberal watering just to keep the soil or compost slightly damp. And with the spring sun in this greenhouse, they have all shot up, as you can see. Now, the only thing I will say about that is that when I started to remove the actual sweet potatoes, all the tubers underneath had loads and loads of like fibrous root systems, and some of those weren't attached to the slips. Now, I've put these back in because I'm trying to encourage these slips to actually grow to get to this size before I transplant. And you can see I've got one there and one here. When you last saw me, I had two that what I thought had failed, but they hadn't. They had actually come up. So I've had 100% success rate with store-bought and sweet potatoes. And this one here will go in a moment, but I'm going to take that one out and put in the grow bag. I've got one small one, and when you take them off, you can see, as long as you've got a bit of a root system, from what I understand, they should grow. So I'm just going to put that one in, and I'm just going to put this one there, make a little finger hole there, put it in with the root system, pack it around there, and I'm going to fill this up with the rest of them from here. Right, I've just loosened the actual potato, and I'm going to try and pull it out without damaging too much of the root system, which you may be able to see when I bring it up here. As you can see, that's what I'm talking about. You get a lot of fibrous root systems there. Just shake off a bit of the earth, and a lot of those aren't even attached to the slips, but here you can see the slips have roots on them, and that you want to be careful when you take the slip off that you actually take the roots attached to the slip with it. A lot of these here are coming from the tuber itself, so I'm just going to do that a minute and remove some of these. So I ended up with three good sized slips there, and as you can see, two of them have got quite long root balls, and one has a few dangly bits, but that should be enough of a root system to get it going. I'm going to plant them in here now, and like I said before, I'm just basically doing this off the cuff, which is basically make a hole. I'm pushing, I think I need a bit bigger hole there, because these have got quite a big root ball system. Putting it in, and then back filling it, putting it upright. There, that's one. Move a bit of this around. I didn't want to buy containers because containers are quite expensive. I've seen there's a lot of ingenious alternatives you can use, and this is one of them. Just getting grow bags, tipping up, upending like this, and using them as the actual container yourself. And like I said, I've got them supported between my trellises with a bit of board, so they're going to stay upright. And the last one to go in here. And like I said, everything I've done here so far with this sweet potatoes is on the back of like basically limited knowledge, and what knowledge I do have is what I've pulled off the internet and through experimentation, and it seems to have worked so far. So what I'm going to do is water these and see what happens with these. And as you can see, I put the potato back in there, or sweet potato, and I'm going to continue watering these, and hopefully I can gain more slips from them. And I really want to actually try how late in the season here in the UK in a greenhouse I can continue to produce sweet potatoes. Right, these are quite dry, so I'm going to give them quite a bit of water. It's a balancing game so you don't get them to rot, but I just want to get that soil back wet again. And same with these. The pots are draining, as you can see the water's coming out there. I'm going to do these grow bags because they haven't received any water, these grow bags. I'm going to make sure these actual slips get a nice bit of water, and I'm going to make sure this actual growing compost is well and truly damp to start with, and then I'll regulate it. I have stabbed the bag multiple times underneath to allow moisture to drain out, but this greenhouse, due to the heat, actually sucks so much moisture out of the plants and the environment and anything in here. I don't think they would get a chance to rot, but like I said, I'm no expert. I'm just playing all this by ear. So I'm going to continue watering these, and like I said, get everything thoroughly moisturized and get that compost its first initial watering extremely damp. Not too much where everything rots, but like I said, I've got to play this by ear because this is all an experimentation for myself. So I did actually get to produce slips from store-bought sweet potatoes. There was some debate whether that was even possible. I've seen some comments saying that they can't produce slips, but as I've just proved, they can. You can produce slips. I don't know what variety that I'm using because, like I said, they're just generic store-bought sweet potatoes. I've now moved on to the next stage of having slips. I transplanted them into some compost, and I've got to see if they will take. If they do take, I will produce a network of vines going up inside the greenhouse here. And you know, this is my next stage now, and I'm hopefully after all this time waiting and work that they will actually take and then go on to produce the sweet potatoes themselves. I'm not sure if I've done the right thing with packing them quite so tight, but that is yet to be seen. I have seen videos saying if they're packed tight, obviously it stands to reason you get smaller potatoes, but if there's more room, they produce bigger single tubers. But like I said, that remains to be seen what happens. They do have a lot of depth there, so I'm hoping the depth will allow them to go down as well. So yeah, I'll bring you back on the next instalment of what actually happens with these slips. And just to add to that, like with all my gardening, I'm just getting into it. I'm a newbie, and like I said at the very start of all this, that you do end up making mistakes. The only thing I will say is I'm trying not to, because there's a lot of time involved. If not money, there's a lot of time, obviously, with the waiting and nurturing of any vegetables, and indeed these sweet potatoes. You know, it is a bit of a labour of love, as in time wise. So yeah, I am trying my best not to mess this up. So even though I'm experimenting along with information I've gathered. So yeah, this is Andy from Folklore Hiking Sticks. All the best, and let's see what happens with these sweet potatoes.